Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about the components of Angular project. We have heard so many times like yes, there are multiple components in an Angular website, but what exactly the term component is? So these are the things we will be discussing in this particular session. Prior to this session, we discuss all the folders and files that are created when we first time create the first project, right? So we just discussed the overview of those folders and files, and from this session we will discuss about the components, like what is component, why do we need component, what all files are associated with component, and how we can create our own component. Along with this, we will also discuss what is parent component in a project, because we all know that whenever we create our project, first time it provide one component for us, that is a app component. So what is that app component? So these all things we will be discussing in this particular session. But before we proceed further, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released sessions first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow them sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on what is component. But prior to that, you should know about this structure of this folder, of these folders and files that we have created with just one single command of creating the project. Clear? Alright, so let's go and discuss about the component. So we will start from the definition itself. So if someone asks you what is Angular component, so you can simply say that in Angular, a component is a fundamental building block that controls a part of user interface. Okay, I'm repeating the definition. In Angular, a component is a fundamental building block that controls a part of user interface. Now, maybe some of you are not able to understand with this definition. So don't worry, I'll explain you from layman example. Okay. So suppose there is a house, right? In that house, there is one wall. So what we will do here, we will relate the wall with website and component with bricks. So if someone asks you that you have to make a wall, so what you will do, you will merge multiple bricks to create one big wall, right? So in that case, if you are referring the website as a wall, then your bricks, because there are multiple bricks that are making one website, right? So that brick is known as component. So with this, we can simply say that yes, whenever we are creating a website, there we are using multiple component, because one website can contain multiple multiple component. Okay, so I think with this term or with this example, it is clear like what is component. So component is nothing but a building block of a website. Alright, so definition is clear. Now I'll show you one example through which you can easily relate this thing. So suppose we are working on a website where we have to prepare something like this. On that website, I want one header, then I want navbar, then there should be some space for banner, cart, checkout, user profile, product list, and footer. So these are the all things that I want on my application, or you can say my website. So there, if you consider each and every section, then these are the component itself. Okay, there is one component for header, one is for navbar, one is for banner, cart, checkout, user, product list, and footer. So these are all components. So I think now component is clear. Now what is parent component or app component? So when we first time create the project, at that time by default it add one app component where in source folder, as I mentioned earlier also, that source is the main folder where we are going to create all these things. So if you expand this, you will find there is one component with the name app. Okay, so this is called the parent component. If you expand it, you will see all those files that are associated to this particular component. Okay, so this is called parent component. Now if you are considering this entire if you are considering all these section as a component, different component, how many components are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So these are 8 child component. Then where is parent component? this black border you can consider as a parent component. Okay, so by default when we when in a project, when we see there is a by default app, so this app is this black border. Okay, inside that black, or you can say the parent component, we can create multiple component as per our requirement. So let's say if you want to create a header component, so you can create it. If you want a nav bar component, you can create it. Clear? So the outermost, or you can say the main component of the application is the app component, because Angular application need at least one component. Without one component, you are not able to build anything. Why? Because we all know that like whenever we create one initial project, that time also at least we need one component. On the basis of that only the application will run. Clear? So I think now the definition is clear, like what is component, what is child component, that is also clear. So whatever you create inside a parent component is considered as a child component. So if your app component is a parent component, then all these components are the child component. Clear? Then also we discuss what is the app folder. App folder is nothing but an app component itself. Okay, now we will talk about the files, or you can say the structure, or you can say the anatomy of the component. So whenever we are talking about the component, it always contains 4 main files. 4 main files means one is for CSS, one is for HTML, one is for spec.ts, and one for component.ts. So these are the all 4 files that is associated with one component. Now maybe some of you heard about that only 3 component files are there in projects, because mostly people avoid or ignore this file that is called spec.ts, but it is always needed to learn about that. Although like we are not going to use this file, but still we should know, or we should aware of this thing, that yes, there are another file that is used for testing purpose. Okay, so if someone asks you, like whenever we create a component, or whenever either manually or through command, then how many files should be there? So there should be at least 4 files. What all 4 files? One is CSS, one is HTML, one is spec.ts, and another one is main file, that is app.component.ts. Now one by one I'll explain all these 4 files. The first file is CSS file. So with its name, it is clear that whatever CSS we are going to apply on our application will be created or will be designed inside this CSS file. Clear? So whenever like we all know that for learning Angular we should know about CSS, HTML, right? So those CSS and HTML we will apply here. So this file is for CSS only. So here we will design everything for CSS. Clear? Then we have second file, that is HTML file. HTML file is mainly used to store the structure, or you can say the entire skeleton of your website. Okay, so here we will write entire structure or the template of the website. Now maybe if you are following the series, then you might be thinking like there was some code earlier when I show this folder, right? So I just simply removed it. Okay, so you can also remove it. It is not important, because we want to create everything from scratch. That was provided by the Angular, right? When we create the first project, that time we got those details, but now we want to explore everything by our own. So that's why I just simply removed this HTML file. Don't remove all files, only the HTML file, because one by one we need everything, and then accordingly we will delete the unnecessary thing. But for now I just cleared this HTML part, and here instead of writing anything extra, I will just put one heading here, and here I will write Angular by Sharmit. You can write your own text. Okay, just save it. So this is our HTML file. Then we have spec.ts, which mostly we ignore, because this file is mainly used for testing purpose. Right now we are in the initial stage, right? So we are not going to use it, but keep it in mind that yes, there is one file that is used for testing purpose, that is app.component.specs.ts. Clear? Then we have next and very important file, that is app.component.ts file. Now what is this? So this is the main file where we will write the entire logic for our application. Okay, clear? So I think now, and this is inside like this will hold the all TypeScript coding. Okay, so I think now it is clear. If someone asks you how many files are created for one component, so you can simply say that for each and every component there should be at least 4 files. First one is CSS file where we will put everything related to design. Second one is HTML file where we will put everything related to template. Third is spec.ts file that is only used for testing purpose. And the fourth one is component.ts file where we will write everything related to main logic in TypeScript. Clear? Okay, now let's take some of the questions. So maybe some of you might be thinking like, let's say if we are creating all these elements, so do I need to create separate 4 files for each component? Yes, you need it. Why? Because each component is working separately, right? If we talk about the main component, that is the black border, yes, it also contains the 4 files. We can see here, right? There are 4 files for this main component. Similarly, if you want to create a header component, so for header component also there should be 4 files. Okay, 4 files for header. And what all 4 files? CSS, let me show you. CSS, then we need HTML, then we need TS, component.ts, and specs. I'm writing in shorts, okay, short form, so don't get confused. Specs.ts. So these are the 4 files we need every time when we create a, okay, whenever we are creating a component. So these 4 files are needed for each and every. Don't think that we need only one time. We need it for every component. Okay, so similarly, if I copy it, so 4 files for this as well. Okay, so I'll show you, like in the next session we will also see how to create this component. And for creating the component there are multiple ways. Okay, one is through command, which will not take more than, I would say, 20 seconds, because we just need to write one command and it will create all these 4 files at one go. But before that we should know about the structure. We should know how to create it manually. For sure, like for project purpose we are going to use directly the command. But if you start learning through command, it might be a bit difficult for you, because prior to using those commands you should know how to do it manually. If you know about manual process, then easily you can use the commands and it will save your time. Okay, so in next session I'll show you how to create component manually. Okay, just before winding up this session, I want to show you one more thing. Like here you can see we have one file that is called the main file for our app component, that is app. Although like everything is main, right, everything is important, but why we focus more on app.component.ts file? Because here you can see this is the main area where we have defined the component, and this is the way to define the class for the component. Okay, you need to write in the same syntax, export class app. I'll tell you when we create it from scratch, but this is the exact syntax we have to follow for every component. You can change the title, that is fine, but it should be in the same structure. Now how the application will understand this is my component file? So it will be instructed by this decorator. Okay, so every time you need to write this decorator for one component file. Okay, so here you can see decorator means decorator that marks a class as an Angular component and provide configuration metadata and determines how the component should be processed, initialized and used at runtime. Okay, so this is the main thing. So whenever you are creating any class for a component, it should be associated with one decorated, because then only decorator is mainly used to provide the information related to metadata. So with this decorator itself, it would be clear to application that what all files the application should consider. For example, if you want to use this component somewhere, so you will use this name, and name is associated with selector. So whenever we want to use it, we will use this app-root, which is the name of the component. Then we have import section, where we will import all other component that we will be creating maybe in the next session. I'll show you how we can create it and how we can import it here. Okay, but for now just keep it in mind that every component will be imported here. Then we have template URL, where we will just mainly use where we will just specify how what file we are going to refer for HTML. So for template, we are referring the HTML file, because we all know that template will be created in the HTML itself. Similarly, we have style.url, where we will keep the CSS file and it will take the reference from it. Okay, so you can say this is the main component file, where we have associated two HTML and CSS file, and spec file, as I mentioned, this is the test file. Okay, so that this thing we will be needing for testing purpose only. So I think now it is clear like how we create the how the files are connected with one component. And let's say if you want to use this, if you want to show this title on your HTML, so what you can do, you can simply go here and just use opening closing curly braces and write here title. This is case sensitive, so write in same case. Then open the terminal, which is I'm using Control Shift and tilde sign from my keyboard. It will open my terminal. Okay, here I need to change the path, so I just copied my path from my local system. Now I'll write the path here, and now we will move it to main project folder. Remember, you have to work only on this my first project folder, okay, otherwise it won't work. So here I will write my first project. Perfect. Now we can run this application. So you just need to write here ng serve and then enter. So it will take few seconds and then it will show you the location where you need to run this application. Okay, it is already used because I have already opened it. So let me show you how it works. So here you can see we can see the HTML heading here, Angular by Sharmit, and also the title that is coming from the TS file. Clear? So mainly we just discuss how to show this basic thing using the existing parent component. Clear? So in this session we discuss what is component, how to use component in application, and what all files are associated with the component, what is the purpose of CSS, HTML, spec.ts and main component.ts file. In the next session, we will discuss how to create a component. Firstly, I'll show you how to create component manually. Then I'll show you how to create a component using command, because both methods you should know about both methods. Okay. So yeah, that's all for today. In the next session, we will discuss few more things. So thank you for watching Sharmit.